Disclaimer. Hey everyone, just a quick heads up before we get started. I want to let you know I'm completely transparent. This channel shares my personal trading journey and insights, including discussions of significant gains. Please remember, past performance is not a guarantee of future success, and all trading involves substantial risk. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Please always do your own research and consult with a professional financial advisor before making any trading decisions. I am not responsible for any actions taken based on the information provided in this video. Use this information at your own risk. This is the $8 challenge. Thank you so much for coming by. Today is episode 23, and I'm very happy to say the account is green today. Now I'm actually going to cover the last 2 days in today's video, so account is up 18% today, but unfortunately yesterday I was down 8% and really kicking myself. As you can see, if you do the math really quick, like no one probably will do, I started the day off green and ended up going green to red like a freaking, you know what. So not very happy. My God, my chair is dropping like a rock. So I'm not very happy about that. But I am happy to recover those losses today and pulled my head out of my butt and made sure to lock in profits. And I was attempting to make a swing trade with that last one being that 1 day till expire. But ultimately, I just couldn't hang in there. Ended up ended up taking profits and getting stopped out. Actually, you know what? I didn't get stopped out. I used a limit order. So anyways, let's dive right into it. My chair is going down so fast. I swear it will sit up all day long. And then the second I turn the camera on, it just starts dropping. So, if I'm a little bit lower than usual, you know why. I'm not going to keep fixing it. Anyways, thank you so much for coming by. I greatly appreciate all of you guys. If you're new here, please subscribe. And please drop that like down below. It really helps the channel out. Here we go, looking at the 15-minute chart here. And you can see today we're breaking some key levels. We started the day with a nice gap up. And it actually kind of filled all pre-market. So gapping up and then really breaking that resistance level. Around 441.50 is what I had it at yesterday, and you can kind of see that's about where we hit resistance in pre-market. Kind of consolidated, chopped to that area, sold off right before, and then broke through with some real strength today. So nice to see. Looking over here on the 4-hour chart above my head, you can see how the market is kind of playing out on a broader scale, and it looks like we had a nice strong bounce off 433. And as I scroll over here to the left, you can kind of see where that support comes from, between 431.25 or so and 433 being right here. And really just looking here at this demand zone, and the market is bouncing off that strong. So it should be interesting to see if we can continue this uptrend. And actually, if you see here, if I show all the drawings, you can see this downtrend that I have right here, and it kind of correlates with the 200-day moving average, which I don't have on this chart here, but maybe over here I do. Let me see. I usually do all this analysis on a different computer, so bear with me here. You can see there it is. Wow, I don't know why that's so stretched out. Wild thing. So the 200 moving average on the 1-hour chart, we were below it, but on the 4-hour chart, that's kind of where we're looking to hit resistance off of. And honestly, I don't even know where I was going with this at this point, but just be aware that is where the 200 moving average is on the 4-hour chart. So watch for resistance around that 446 level, which is actually about where we are pre-market. So pretty crazy. Anyway, zooming on in here before I get lost in the sauce. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down below. I'll be happy to help. I know I'm kind of flying through this video, so there's definitely things I'll skip through. So, the likelihood of you guys having questions after is very possible. Don't be shy. There's no stupid questions. I know people watch these videos from all different skill levels, from never trading to 10, 15, 20 years of trading experience. I greatly appreciate all of you guys stopping by, whether you're asking for help or just leaving comments saying what's up, or maybe you have some advice you want to share with me. Hey, I'm open to all of it. I think we can all learn something from everyone, and the last thing I want to always be is the smartest person in the room. Trust me, that's not the brightest room. But anyways, here we are looking at the 1-minute chart. First trade of the day was right at 10 o'clock, and I got in and out in 4 minutes from 15 to 17. So nothing crazy, just a small 13% gain, but a good way to start the day off. So locking in profits waiting for a little pullback again, and then I took trade number 2 right here, and this one I got kind of shaken out of. You can see I got in at 10:09 and then held that for about 8 minutes, and I got out right before I ended up going red, so got out break even just barely. But really I could have held it, and that's probably what I would have done if I didn't get out break even. I would have just held it through all this choppiness, and I would have waited to the break below the support level right here, and at that point that's when I would have cut losses. Sometimes my losses are based off of the percentage of the contract, 10-20%, but more than often it's based off of the price action and the trends and support levels. And once it looks like the trend is going to go against you, it's best to get out as soon as possible. Don't hope for a reversal. The trend is your friend. The last thing you want to do is go against momentum. Trust me. But trade number 3 got in at 9 and then out at 11, about 7 minutes later. So right here, another quick trade. It looks like it could have been a little bit more profit, but because the size of the contract, there just wasn't that big of a move. If it was another $15 contract, it probably would have been more of like a $5 move. So just to give you a little bit of perspective on that. Bigger risk, bigger reward. Last trade of the day. This one I was going to attempt to make a swing trade and hold it overnight, and I kind of wish I would have, but I'm happy I took profit. I can't regret locking in profit at 62%. But who knows? The market is probably going to open up with a gap up tomorrow. It was really ripping after hours. If you scroll over here, you can see what I'm talking about. And yeah, so who knows though? It might all sell off before the market opens. I've seen it happen. I've made attempts where I've taken a swing trade like this and then saw some crazy moves after hours, and I was like, yeah, guaranteed big money tomorrow. And then I wake up and all of those gains are all gone after hours, and it's like, man. So just be aware of that. A lot of the times when you can see those big moves after hours, it's just as easy for it to come back down, because it takes less volume to make the market move in after hours. That's why you'll see some big swings sometimes, or just big moves, not even just a big swing. So but anyways, you can see I got in at 12:48 and I held this for whatever, an hour 45 minutes or so, and then locked in profits at 13. Now, why I decided to was because I held through all this downtrend right here. We bounced off support, we're consolidating. I was like, okay, I think it was at it went all the way down to $11, and I was like, man, I'll probably take profit at 10 if I have to, because obviously I'm not trying to let this thing go from red to green, or from green to red. Oh man, like I did the other day. Yesterday I let my account go from green to red like an idiot, so was not about to let that happen with this single trade. So I had that stop loss take profit order in that whole time, and I moved it down a little bit to give myself a little bit more risk, and let it kind of come down to where it was going to bounce off the support level. I had the stop loss out initially at 12, but I ended up moving it down to 11, and then luckily it didn't trigger, because I knew support was very close. Sometimes I'll get stopped out just below or just above support, and it's so frustrating because it'll just bounce and then rip to the upside, and it's just like, oh man, if I would have just held through that and didn't get stopped out, I could have had a good play. But that's all part of it. It happens. But you can see I was pretty eager to get out once I got that pop right there. Wasn't going to take the chance. I knew resistance was at this level right here, based off this previous price action. So I was like, better safe than sorry. Let me just lock in profits. But as you can see, if I would have held, who knows, tomorrow maybe that thing will be up 500%, or maybe it will be all the way down to $1. You never know. It could happen. But let's just scroll to yesterday really quick, and you can kind of see how that all played out. I'm not going to go through exact play-by-play, but you can see, I was making decent trades, good money to the downside. Trade 1 right here was, let's see, just taking a look over at my notes. So trade 1 right here in yellow, I guess I'll go over it quick for you guys. I know this is what you want to see. Trade number 1, I got in right here in the yellow. I'm just not going to go through all the time frames. Trade 1 right here in yellow, I got in and I sold for 61% profit all the way down here. So I was holding it for, whatever that is, from 9:42 to 10:33, so a little bit less than an hour. But during that time frame, you can see right here, I took a hedge position just in case it was going to bounce and rip to the upper side, just covering my butt right there. But once we hit rejection in this area, that's when I decided to go ahead and cut losses on that trade, and then let the rest, let my trade ride out the rest of that wave right there. So I was happy with how that turned out. I was like, nice move, going strong, a nice green day, you know, playing that hedge position out just right. And then trade number 3, quick 20% right here, I think in just a couple minutes. So I saw this pop and I shorted it. I was expecting it to actually continue down, but it didn't. It remained strong. So I took profit once it looked like it was about to bounce to the upside. And then the last 2 trades, just foolish. I wasn't even paying 100% attention. Got in these last 2 right here, and these things basically went worthless. You know, next thing I knew, I didn't cut out when I should have, and my account went from green to red. And let me tell you, I felt like a real dumbass. Try not to swear on here, but that's the only appropriate word for how I was feeling after that. So let's take a look at the account. And you can see yesterday down 8%, but I was up like 10. So that's the frustrating part. Watching it go from, you know, a decent amount up, you know, within my range, my goal for the day, to being down 8%. And I was just like, what are you doing, man? Pay attention. You know, that's the way it goes sometimes when you're trying to multitask. Sometimes life hits you. Next thing you know, you're like, oh crap, I didn't even have a stop loss in there. And because they were kind of small positions, especially the last one, I was just being a fool and just, you know, letting it pull the account down. So that's what I got to say about that. But today, up 18%, much happier with that. Made back the losses and then some. And you can see the account is up 678%. So still making a comeback from the other day, which was just horrible. And I'm going to make a video on that still. It might not be until Friday or Saturday, but I will dive into that. But just recovering from that is so frustrating. I never should have let it get that bad. But just to kind of give you guys a little preview, I guess, into it, it really just came down to so much else going on in life, just emotions, and then letting emotions affect my trading. So that's all I'm going to say about that for now, but I'll get into that more when I go over that video. But anyways, that's all I have for the day. Hope you guys stay happy and healthy, and I'll see you tomorrow.